Good morning and welcome to Sunrise to Sunset with Pastor Gene. We've completed our work now in 1 Corinthians. We're going to do something a little different now. I'm going to start with the first chapter of the Gospel of Matthew and kind of work my way through the Gospel. This is, of course, the liturgical year for Gospel readings from Matthew. And I've chosen this because that's where we are. And I want to begin by saying a few things about the very first chapter of Matthew. I hope you're reading along with me on this. And now that you know, we're going to be taking 1 or 2 chapters a day going forward with this time together. But today we're going to look at chapters 1 and 2 sort of as a unit. In chapter 1, you read about the genealogy of Jesus. And I'm sure there are people who can find discrepancies between what Matthew says about that genealogy and what Luke says about that genealogy and how that matches up with what you read in the Old Testament. John Wesley explains this rather brilliantly. He says that the way that it was all put together in Matthew is because that's the way the apostles received it. And that's pretty good explanation as far as I'm concerned as to why that happened. There could have been discrepancies back then that were carried over, but that's not the point. The point is that Matthew connects Jesus to the work of God. He connects Jesus to the plan of God to bring salvation to the world. And that's the key message that we need to take from this. All these names that are hard to say and all these generations that take place are all just part of the connection that God is making with who Jesus is, the connection with Abraham, the connection with David. In this, by the end of chapter 1, we start hearing about the birth of Jesus coming through a virgin that shall conceive. And this, of course, being related back to a text in Isaiah. Matthew is very, very interested in connecting Jesus to the Jewish history and to who he will be for the Jewish people. And then, of course, we have in chapter 2 the story about how Herod wanted to slaughter the innocents because he did not want his threatened throne to be taken away from him by anything, including an act of God. So this is the passage where we read about the wise men. There are no shepherds. There's no innkeeper in the birth story here, but there is a story of the death of the innocents. Now, it also places Jesus having to leave the area where he was born and go to Egypt, which that's another connection. If you think about it, the Hebrew people were set free from slavery in Egypt, and they came out of Egypt. So the Son of God comes out of Egypt. Again, Matthew is spending these first 2 chapters laying the groundwork of connecting the story of Jesus to the story of the entire deliverance proclaimed in the Bible. And that's our message today from sunrise to sunset.